Hey everyone! Welcome back to Fluent English Podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm Alex. How are you doing today, Emma?
I'm doing great, thanks. I'm really excited about today's topic, actually.
Oh yeah? What are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to discuss something that I think every English learner struggles with at some point. How to train your brain to actually think in English, not just translate from your native language.
Oh, this is such an important topic. I remember when I was learning French, I would always translate everything in my head first. It made speaking so slow and exhausting.
Exactly. And that's what so many of our listeners tell us, too. They say, I know the words, but when I try to speak, I have to translate first. And by that time, the conversation has moved on.
Right. It's frustrating. But the good news is there are some really practical ways to train your brain to think directly in English. And that's what we're going to share today.
So grab a cup of coffee or tea, get comfortable, and let's dive in.
Okay, so Emma, let's start with the basics. Why is thinking in English so important? Can't people just keep translating?
Well, they can, but it makes everything harder. When you translate, you're using two languages at the same time. Your brain has to work double.
Exactly. Think about it like this. Imagine you're playing a video game, but every time you want to move your character, you have to press 2 buttons instead of 1. It would be so much slower, right?
That's a perfect example. And you know what else? When you translate, you often miss the natural flow of conversation. By the time you've translated your response, the other person has already moved on to a different topic.
Oh, I've been there so many times. I remember once I was at a party and someone asked me a question. I spent like 30 seconds translating my answer in my head, and when I finally spoke, everyone was already talking about something completely different.
Oh no, that must have been awkward.
It was, but it taught me an important lesson. If you want to have natural conversations in English, you need to think in English. There's no way around it.
And here's another thing. Some ideas and expressions don't translate directly. Every language has its own way of expressing things. So when you think in English, you start to understand how English speakers actually communicate.
That's so true. Like idioms, for example. If you translate idioms word for word, they often don't make sense.
Right, like, it's raining cats and dogs. If you translate that literally to another language, people would be so confused.
Exactly. Okay, so we've established why thinking in English is important. But how do we actually do it? That's the big question.
Well, before we get to the solutions, let's talk about the challenges. What stops people from thinking in English?
I think the biggest challenge is habit. Your brain is used to thinking in your native language. That's what it's been doing your whole life. So switching to English feels uncomfortable at first.
Absolutely. It's like learning to write with your other hand. It feels weird and unnatural.
Yeah, and another challenge is vocabulary. Sometimes you don't know the English word for something, so your brain automatically goes back to your native language.
Oh, that happens to me all the time. I'll be thinking in Spanish, and then suddenly I need a word I don't know, and boom, my brain switches back to my first language.
Same here. And you know what else is challenging? Fear. People are afraid of making mistakes, so they translate to make sure everything is correct.
That's such a good point. We want to be perfect, so we carefully construct sentences in our native language first, then translate them. But that actually slows down our progress.
Exactly. Perfection is the enemy of fluency, as they say.
I love that saying. And here's another challenge, lack of practice. If you only speak English in class or at work for 1 hour a day, it's hard to build that thinking in English habit.
Right. Your brain needs consistent practice. You can't just flip a switch and suddenly think in English. It takes time and repetition.
Okay, so we've got habit, vocabulary gaps, fear of mistakes, and lack of practice. Those are the main challenges. But don't worry, listeners, we've got solutions for all of these.
All right, let's get practical. Emma, what's the first technique you recommend?
Okay, my favorite technique is what I call labeling your world. It's super simple. As you go through your day, look at objects around you and say their English names in your head.
Oh, I love this one. Can you give an example?
Sure. So right now, I'm looking around this room. I see a microphone, a coffee mug, a window, a plant, some books on a shelf. I'm just naming everything I see.
And if you don't know the English word,
Great question. If you don't know a word, look it up right away. Then use it several times that day. For example, if you don't know the word shelf, look it up, and then throughout the day, think, the books are on the shelf. The shelf is brown. I need to clean that shelf.
Repetition is key. Your brain needs to see and use a word multiple times before it sticks.
Exactly. Okay, what's your favorite technique, Alex?
I really like narrating my daily activities. It's like being the narrator of your own life movie.
That sounds fun. How does it work?
So, as you do things throughout the day, you describe what you're doing in English, but in your head, not out loud unless you're alone.
Right. People might think you're a bit strange if you're walking down the street talking to yourself.
Exactly. So, for example, when I'm making breakfast, I think, I'm opening the refrigerator, I'm taking out the eggs and milk, now I'm cracking the eggs into a bowl, I'm whisking them together.
That's brilliant because you're using present continuous tense, which is perfect for describing actions happening right now.
Right. And here's the thing, you're already doing these activities anyway. You're not adding extra time to your day, you're just adding English to activities you already do.
I love that. It's so efficient. And you know what? You can do this with anything. Brushing your teeth, getting dressed, walking to work, cooking dinner.
Absolutely. And here's another technique that really helped me, talking to yourself in English.
Okay, this one sounds a bit crazy, but it actually works really well.
It does. When you're alone, maybe in your car or in the shower or before bed, have conversations with yourself in English.
Like, ask yourself questions and answer them?
Exactly. You can ask yourself, what am I going to do today? And then answer, well, I need to go to the supermarket, then I'll meet my friend for coffee, and in the evening, I'll watch a movie.
That's great practice because you're using future tense and planning vocabulary, and there's no pressure because no one is listening.
Right. You can make all the mistakes you want. You can pause, think, correct yourself. It's a safe space to practice.
Okay, here's another technique I want to mention. Keeping a thought diary or journal in English.
Ooh, I've heard about this. Can you explain it?
Sure. At the end of each day, write down your thoughts in English. Not just what you did, but how you felt, what you're thinking about, your opinions.
So it's more than just, today I went to work and ate lunch.
Exactly. It's more like, today was challenging because I had a difficult meeting. I felt nervous at first, but then I realized I was prepared and I felt more confident. I'm proud of myself for speaking up.
I love that because you're using more complex language and expressing emotions.
Right. And here's the key. Don't worry about grammar mistakes. Just write. Let your thoughts flow in English.
And over time, you'll notice that writing in English becomes easier, and then thinking in English becomes easier too.
Exactly. Now let's talk about immersion. Alex, you mentioned this helps a lot, right?
Oh yes, immersion is huge. The more you surround yourself with English, the more your brain starts to naturally think in English.
So what do you recommend?
Well, change your phone settings to English. Change your computer to English. Listen to English podcasts like this one. Watch English TV shows and movies. Read English books or articles.
And here's a tip. Don't just consume passively. Try to engage with what you're hearing or reading.
What do you mean by that?
So if you're watching a TV show, pause sometimes and predict what will happen next, in English, in your head. Or if a character asks a question, answer it yourself before you hear their answer.
Oh, that's smart. You're making it interactive.
Exactly. And when you read articles or books, summarize what you read in your own words. Again, in English, in your head.
These are all such practical tips. I wish I had known all of this when I started learning French.
Okay, so we've talked about techniques, but what about when you hit a wall? What if you're trying to think in English and you just can't find the word you need?
This is so important to address. First of all, it's completely normal. It happens to everyone, even advanced speakers.
Definitely. So what should you do when this happens?
Well, here's my approach. Try to describe the word instead of giving up and switching languages. Use other English words you know.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's say you can't remember the word screwdriver. Instead of switching to your native language, you could think the tool you use to turn screws or the thing with the metal end that you twist.
That's great. You're still staying in English even if you don't have the exact word.
Right. And often, if you describe something enough, the word will actually come to you.
That's true. Your brain is still searching for it in the background.
Exactly. And if the word doesn't come, make a note to look it up later, but don't let that stop your thinking process.
Good advice. Now, what about when you're just too tired? Sometimes at the end of a long day, my brain just wants to switch back to my native language.
Oh, I totally understand that. Thinking in a second language does require mental energy.
So what do you do?
Well, I think it's okay to give your brain a break sometimes. You don't have to think in English 24/7, especially when you're starting out.
That's a relief to hear.
Yeah, be kind to yourself. Maybe start with just 10 or 15 minutes a day of dedicated English thinking time, then gradually increase it.
That makes it feel much more achievable. Small steps lead to big progress.
Absolutely. And here's something important. Celebrate your wins, even the small ones.
Yes, this is so important for motivation.
If you successfully thought through your morning routine in English, that's a win. If you had a 5-minute internal conversation in English, that's a win. Recognize and celebrate these moments.
Because progress in language learning isn't always obvious, it happens gradually.
Right. You might not notice you're improving day by day, but if you compare yourself to a month ago or 6 months ago, you'll see the difference.
And don't compare yourself to native speakers. Compare yourself to your past self.
That's such good advice, Emma. The goal isn't perfection, the goal is progress.
Wow, we've covered so much today. Alex, should we do a quick recap of our main tips?
Yes, great idea. So listeners, here are your key takeaways from today's episode.
Number 1, start labeling objects around you in English. Make it a daily habit.
Number 2, narrate your daily activities in your head as you do them.
Number 3, talk to yourself in English when you're alone. Have full conversations.
Number 4, keep a thought journal in English. Write your feelings and opinions, not just facts.
Number 5, immerse yourself in English through podcasts, TV shows, movies, and books.
And number 6, when you don't know a word, try to describe it in English instead of switching languages.
Remember, listeners, this is a journey. Your brain needs time to adapt to thinking in English.
Start small. Maybe pick just one of these techniques to try this week. Master that, then add another.
And be patient with yourself. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's completely normal.
The important thing is consistency. A little bit of practice every day is better than a lot of practice once a week.
Before we go, I want to give you a challenge for this week.
Ooh, I love challenges. What is it?
I challenge all our listeners to spend at least 5 minutes each day thinking in English. Set a timer if you need to. Narrate what you're doing or describe what you see or plan your day. Anything.
That's a great challenge. 5 minutes is totally doable for everyone.
And if you want, share your experience with us on social media. We'd love to hear how it goes.
Yes, please do. We love hearing from our listeners.
All right, that's all for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to Fluent English Podcast.
Remember, every conversation you have in English, even with yourself, is making you better.
Keep practicing, keep learning, and most importantly, be kind to yourself in this process.
We'll see you next week with another topic to help you on your English learning journey.
Until then, happy learning, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.